she suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
I mean, when I listen to Megyn, I am just reminded that there's nothing authentic there.
You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
I'm working so hard. Is she really?
Why does she struggle so much with humanity?
I feel like it's pretty safe to say that Megyn Markle is like a pathological liar.
She can't even act like herself.
And she is exhausting. You are not a successful female entrepreneur. I can list more fails on both of my hands.
She has done the world premiere episode of actually being on someone else's podcast.
Freeze this frame. A quiet set, one voice, no makeup, no script. Megyn leans into the mic and promises the truest version of herself. It feels bold and simple. Here's our first loop. When the stage looks that clean, is it real honesty or careful design that only looks honest? Park that question for a second. Notice the gentle light and the tight camera, both pulling you closer. We will circle back to this promise right after you see what set the internet on fire, and we will test whether the setup matches the truth it sells.
Right here. Yes, gonna be fun. Hi, crew.
You made me cry. Good thing I have no makeup on.
You look so pretty.
I have not done a show with no makeup since my 1,000 QVC shows.
Do you think I have?
I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us one strip of authenticity.
I just feel like at this point, she's gotten a lot of opportunities to tell us something interesting. You're dying to tell us stuff, but none of it has any substance to it.
The clip lands and the web snaps into two camps. One side swears it is a diary opened in real time. The other side says every pause and tear hits perfect marks. That opens a curiosity gap. If emotion arrives on cue, does it still count as raw? Keep that doubt open. We are not closing it yet. Watch how the timing, the breath, and the looks to camera build a rhythm. We will revisit this moment after one more puzzle piece shows up, and we will see if the rhythm feels natural or planned.
Thank you for trusting me with your first ever podcast and with your friendship.
Yeah. Means a lot, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
On X, a label sticks, sympathy theater. Users say the soft lighting and steady tone feel like a pitch. They point to past promises of unfiltered talk that sounded practiced. Now our loop tightens. Are we seeing Megyn at her most real, or a performance that turns feeling into fuel? Keep that in mind. We will not answer yet. The next scene raises the stakes with a personal reveal. When it lands, we will check if the tone changes or if it stays exactly on brand.
She also had to tell us at the Time 100 thing that she's the happiest she's ever been. How many people do you know have to convince you that they're the happiest that they've ever been in their life? This is all just Megyn Markle's stage. We're expected to buy it.
She wants us to believe that she went from being a D-list actress from a show that nobody that I know watched, Suits, okay, to becoming Martha Stewart in 3 years. This is totally authentic.
She talks about her brand and being a mom. She says she writes nightly emails to her kids for the future. She reads one on air. Her voice shakes. She laughs through tears and says, "This is why not wearing makeup helps." Jamie Kern Lima calls it brave and soul-filling. Here's the turn. Was that a raw spill or a polished moment made to look messy? Hold that thought. We will bring this back after we hear what the loudest critics say. Then we will see which version fits better.
So beautiful.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that one.
Sure you were.
Yeah, they're just it's just so great. This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on. Thank you.
The one thing she is dying to sell to us is relatability. The one thing she's dying for more than anything is for us to love her. And she can't get it across the finish line.
The Daily Mail quotes Alexander Lerman, calling the display desperate. On X, crocodile tears trends. Viewers point at the precise delivery and the fresh face and say it feels rehearsed. They also question the host. Some say Jamie sounded stiff and too sweet. More praise than push. Loop check. If the interviewer never probes, can the truth stretch? Keep that loop open. We will return to it once the pressure ramps up and the tone of the room becomes part of the story.
Megyn, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. How are you?
I know you always make it about me. Your husband just shared publicly. I'm so happy for my wife and fully support absolutely everything she's done and continues to do.
When did he say that?
This week. It's everywhere in the press. Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's sweet.
Harry, again, find your balls. Wherever they are, find them.
Skeptics push harder. Megyn Kelly calls her a malignant narcissist. and says she leans on royal status for sympathy and clicks. Mimi's show a vision board with Harry front and center. People count how often she says that to me. A sharper claim floats in that she planned to go after Harry before they met. Proof stays fuzzy, so the loop stays open. Rumor draws eyes, truth needs weight. Let it simmer. We will see if later details cool this down or make the claim feel even stickier.
But she said she was in the trenches. She alludes to being in the trenches when she was in the British royal family. Girl, you lived in a castle. Like, you got a princess title.
Shift to the podcast track. UK media takes aim. The Daily Telegraph calls it queasy and self-focused. Rewind to 2020, a reported $20 million Spotify deal for uplifting shows. In 2022, Archetypes drops 12 episodes on stereotypes against women, with stars like Serena Williams and Mariah Carey. Big idea, big guests, big expectations. Here's the setup. When the promise is huge, the reaction rarely lands in the middle. Keep that frame because it sets up the fall or the rise we are about to measure.
It flopped. It flopped really hard despite Spotify trying to push it, and they realized that these two don't really want to work, okay?
The shine fades. Reviews say the series feels thin and self-congratulatory. Olivia Pedd at The Independent writes a line that travels everywhere, the most self-congratulatory hour you will hear all year. That quote becomes a lens, loop moment. Once a line frames a project, can the project break the frame? Do not close it yet. We will test that with what happened next, and we will see if the audience reaction follows the press or breaks away from it.
Spotify, I think, ended up canceling the rest of their deal. There was no use. There was no money in it.
What happened to Spotify? The critics were horrible about With Love, Megyn. You sold inventory that you didn't have on asever.com. People are still waiting for their refunds.
On X, people call it woke nonsense and say, it is Megyn talking about Megyn again. On Reddit, some fans like the mission but admit it sounds too polished. By June 2023, Spotify ends the deal. That move turns the volume up on critics. New loop. Was the concept strong but execution weak, or was the concept never clear? We will keep this open until we stack it next to her next appearance. If the next project lands, the pattern shifts. If it stumbles, the pattern locks in.
What was up with the no makeup? That had to be an intentional
That's
move.
another thing. And it's bullshit. She had the hair blown out. It was perfect. I do not believe that she was makeup free there. She didn't have eye makeup on, which is a different thing. But that's her being relatable, Dave.
Yeah,
She's
right.
relatable,
The
you
intentional
see?
relatable.
Yeah.
Editing all the time-coded notes for season 2 of With Love, Megyn, and then being in edits for the podcast and being a mom and a wife and a friend.
Yes, the work ethic must just be grueling. Writing social media captions, deciding what she's going to wear.
She returns in soft sweats and a bare face, sold as a reset from Royal Shine. Doubters say it is classic public relations dressed to look simple. The no-filter tag gets mocked as branding. People joke that a glam team can craft a fresh glow on purpose. Loop check. If the look sells honesty, is the look now the product? Hold that. We will test it against what she says about work, because how she talks about effort can either confirm the image or crack it.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard, and I like working hard, and I'm still working hard. The moment that everything sells out, it doesn't mean that we're done.
Yeah.
It means we're working on replenishment, and what are the next SKUs, and what's the next tranche of products, and what's the timing on that, and writing the newsletters, and writing the social media captions, and making sure that all that feels in line.
Being one of the most privileged people on the planet, she still won't talk about how hardworking she is, which includes coming up with Instagram captions.
And being a mom, and a wife, and a friend.
Oh, yeah,
Those
that's
are
right.
all jobs. I mean, I love being that busy, but I do think it's really interesting when people have no sense of what goes into the thing.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. There's only small doses of that podcast I can consume.
The finish line was really the starting line.
That would infuriate me, like, as someone who's trying to start a business, struggling, because like you're
Hard
in
to
the
get.
royal family.
Yes.
So to complain about, the business, you don't have to, if you don't want to show up, if you don't want to do the schedule, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Right.
You're living in literally like a fantasy tale of.
She lists the grind. As Ever launches, nightly letters, social plans, Netflix cuts, family roles. She says she loves being busy, then adds that people do not see the effort. That sparks a split. Some hear pride. Others hear a request for credit. Keep the loop open. When brand and life merge, who is the hero, the work, or the image of the work? We will close this later after we hear the strongest pushback from people who build brands without that kind of spotlight.
Does she work hard?
Well, according to their tax documents, they work 1 hour a week.
I think you'd be
It's just too painful.
lasting that long. I mean, it is so. That is enough to make you go to the toilet. I've got to say, it is revolting. That woman is just something else.
She says selling out makes it hard to keep up with orders. Jamie Kern-Lima praises the hustle and says the projects are blooming. Critics jump in. Megyn Kelly and Dave Portnoy say the take is tone deaf because royal attention and deep resources change the risk. Portnoy says she cannot really fail like most founders. Here's the test. If the net is strong, do the stakes feel real? Do not answer yet. We will close this loop after one more push from the same critics who think the struggle talk is part of the act.
I can't have someone marry into the royal family and then be like, woe is me, of all these attention or whatever you're getting from being. It's no kidding. It's the royal family.
I can't believe I'm not getting paid for
Yeah,
this.
all this stuff. And then didn't they renounce their royalty, but they still want the royalty?
Kelly doubles down and calls the hard work angle a planned victim move. On X, users clip "I work so hard" and repeat it. The line becomes a chant, then a punchline, then a handle for every debate. Loop play. When a quote turns into a meme, does it reveal truth or only reflect the crowd mood? Keep it open. We are shifting the lens to the host now, and that switch might explain why the tone never changed in the room.
Talking about how hard it is to be a working mom. Most of the working mothers in America do not have help.
Exactly right, exactly right.
Here today for such an exciting conversation that I promise you is going to fill your soul today.
Now the lamp turns on Jamie. Creators like the Royal Rogue say her delivery feels awkward, like a pep speech. Bright tone, perfect timing, safe questions. Viewers say it mirrors Megyn's emotional beats. That symmetry opens a new loop. If both voices move in sync, are we watching a real conversation or a guided walk? Hold that. We will push it further by looking at how the praise lands in the very next beats.
The host.
What's happening with her?
If people didn't know who was who,
The
and
weird,
the expression, yeah, it was between two ferns.
Yeah.
Praise keeps flowing. Lima calls Megyn honest and tireless. Smile after smile, energy on high. Many say it reads like an ad inside a chat. Loop check. When applause fills the room, curiosity slips out the side door. But before that door shuts, a viewer stitches the pattern together. We will use that comment to test whether we are seeing connection or coordination, and we will close or extend the loop based on that read.
Jamie Lynn talks like this, and what I love are grown women who talk like this, like they just injected some helium and everything's okay, there's that.
Today is an episode of Jamie Kern-Lima's show unlike any episode we have ever done.
A comment lands. It looks like they are reading from the same playbook. Lima mirrors Megyn beat for beat, with giant reactions on every pause. The neat echo sells feeling more than it shares facts, critics say. Right when you expect a tough follow-up, you get another yes. The loop stays open on purpose. Is this chemistry or choreography? Keep it in mind because the next take adds money and status to the picture, which can tilt the answer.
And the interviewer, are you more in love now than ever? Like, I'm sure that Megyn wrote all these questions, and then he's a fox. Like, girl, again, I think you took a time machine back to 2006.
We're hearing Megyn tell her friend Jamie, or Jamie talk about Megyn, and telling us that Megyn, by wearing a brand of jeans, has gotten women out of human trafficking. Okay.
Another viewer says the high-energy hype turns a talk into a show. The takeaway sharpens. Jamie's extra warm tone feels as crafted as Megyn's fresh face. That pairing makes people cringe. Then a line sticks. Maybe this is how billionaire women act when the lights turn on. It sounds like a joke, but it plants a new loop. If wealth sets the stage, can small, honest moments still fit? We will hold that question as we step back into the Netflix conversation.
Girl, you lived in a castle. You got a princess title. People were falling at your... People would run your bathwater for you. I mean, I could list the things, the perks. I could list them forever.
The Netflix series drifts back, and the wind is still cold. Each mention brings a fresh knock. The comeback spark does not catch. It looks like a chase that never closes. Loop reminder. When results lag behind the story becomes the result. Keep this alive. We are bringing in outside voices next, and those voices will either soften the hit or make it land harder.
Essentially, the series is about her inviting her friends and famous guests to a beautiful California estate, which is where she cooks and she gardens and she hosts trips. I guess now she's going to be Martha Stewart.
Chef Jameson Stocks, who has cooked for King Charles, blasts the series as slow and painful to watch. He calls the pace sleepy. He says he turned down a Netflix consultation at 41 because the project felt forced. That refusal plays like a review all by itself. Loop, move. If insiders wave off the chance to help, what does that say about the flavor of the show? Do not close it yet. One more twist follows and it changes the stake.
Let's make a show.
Let's go.
critics. He tells the New York Post that Netflix sent a lawyer letter after his comments. He shrugs it off and says, "I do not think she can cook." He urges Megyn to return to acting and calls her quite good at it. Netflix denies any legal threat. 2 stories, 1 audience, and the loop stays open until proof tips the scale. In the meantime, the critics keep piling on, which pushes public mood in one direction.
Music in the background. Do you believe in magic? Think I understand why it is she was a D-list actress, because she can't even act like herself.
Reviewers torch the series. Variety calls it a Montecito ego trip, not worth the ride, and says guests seem pushed to praise her first. The Independent goes further and calls it pointless and self-focused. They even mock a moment where she calls a cake sheath and whispers "goodnight, sweetheart" as it slides into the oven. Loop closure for critics. The press chorus sounds united. That unity makes a comeback harder to hear, but not impossible if the next work flips tone.
Who does this appeal to? Oh, her neighbors are about people who could probably afford the ingredients and could have a backyard filled with honeybees. This could appeal to Oprah Winfrey and basically no one else, least of all in the economy that we're all just coming out of.
The Times writer Carol Migley warns that if you expect smug and syrupy, it is worse. Vulture calls it a wild trip into nothing. Audience scores sink. IMDb hovers near the floor from more than 1,000 votes. Rotten Tomatoes sits very low with viewers. One person's size, not even a fun hate watch. Numbers lock the mood, yet one loop stays open. A single strong release can flip a story fast. We have seen it before, so we cannot close the book yet.
This is a joke, and I'm tired of some of these media outlets continuing to elevate this person when the reality is she's a grifter. Fake it till you make it. We don't accept that anymore. We want authenticity.
Then the forecast turns cold. Stuart Heritage at The Guardian says this could be the Sussex team's last Netflix run if it does not shift. I will not read every sting. I liked Suits. I do not hate Megyn. Here's the final loop. Is this a real voice fighting to be heard, or a push that tries too hard to look true? We will close it in the next drop. The next clip carries a detail we have not seen yet, and if it hits differently, it might change everything. The full breakdown is ready. Click the video on the right to keep watching. Up next, we map 3 paths through the Megyn controversies, spotlight the single pivot that can turn backlash into momentum, and reveal the wild card almost no one is pricing in. Tap the playlist now and comment "next" for the follow-up.